Pluck a single string on a guitar, and a whole room floods with warm, resonant sound. But that string is thinner than a strand of spaghetti, and on its own, it barely stirs the air at all. So where does all of that sound actually come from? The answer is hiding inside the wood, and it is far stranger than you would ever guess. To find it, we have to build a guitar from scratch, starting with a living tree. It begins in a quiet forest, but not just any tree will do. A guitar is picky, almost impossibly picky, about the wood it is made from. The wood has to be light, stiff, and springy, all three at the very same time. Luthiers call these rare and precious woods tone woods, and each one has a specific job. For the top, which is the single most important piece, they reach for spruce. Spruce is astonishingly light, and yet it is stiff enough to hold its shape under tension. That rare combination lets a paper-thin sheet of it vibrate freely, over and over again. For the back and the sides, the choice is usually mahogany or rich, dark rosewood. These denser woods reflect the sound back inward, adding warmth, depth, and color to the tone. Think of a guitar as three different woods, each one doing a single, distinct job. A soft top to sing, hard sides to reflect it, and a stiff neck to take the strain. The finest tops are not sawn flat from the log, they are carefully split apart. Splitting follows the natural grain of the wood, so the finished top stays as strong as possible. A single log is cut into a wedge, and then sliced open like the pages of a book. The two halves fold outward into a perfect mirror image, a trick called book matching. Joined together down the middle, they become one flawless, symmetrical top. But freshly cut wood is soaking wet inside, and wet wood will never truly sing. So it is dried for many months, sometimes even years, until almost all the moisture is gone. Rush this slow drying, and the finished guitar will crack apart in a dry winter. Now the real shaping can begin, and it starts with the one piece that matters most. This thin sheet of spruce is the soundboard, the true beating heart of the whole instrument. It is planed down shockingly thin, to around 3 millimeters, barely thicker than a coin. Hold it up to the light, and you can very nearly see straight through it. A sound hole is cut into the center, a simple round opening in the wood. But cut a hole into a thin board, and you weaken it dramatically. Left alone, under the relentless pull of the strings, this delicate top would simply fold in on itself. The 6 strings tug on it constantly, with the force of many kilograms. Stretched tight and tuned, 6 steel strings can pull with over 70 kilograms of force. That is like hanging a fully grown adult from the top of your guitar. So underneath the top, the luthier glues a hidden skeleton of slender wooden struts. These struts are called the bracing, and their exact pattern changes everything. On most steel string guitars, 2 main braces cross over in the shape of an X. This X bracing was a true stroke of genius, first perfected back in the 1800s. It is strong enough to resist the strings, yet light enough to let the top still vibrate. Each brace is carefully shaved down, thinner and thinner, entirely by hand. The luthier taps on the top and listens closely, tuning it almost like a drum. Shave away too much and it will collapse. Leave too much and it sounds dead and lifeless. Somewhere between those two extremes is a top that finally comes alive. Meanwhile, the sides have to be coaxed into that famous curving hourglass shape. But you simply cannot bend a dry, stiff plank of solid wood. Force it cold and it snaps clean in half. So the thin wood is soaked in water, then met with heat and hissing steam. Pressed against a hot metal pipe or a heated mold, the stiff fibers slowly soften. The steam lets the wood flow and give, just enough to take on a whole new shape. The luthier presses it firmly into the curve and holds it there as it cools. As it dries, The wood locks into that gentle waist and keeps it forever. Now all the pieces slowly come together into a single hollow wooden box. The top, the back, and the curved sides are joined, sealing an empty chamber of air inside. Small strips of wood, called linings, give the glue much more surface to grip onto. This box, this trapped pocket of air, is not empty or useless at all. It is the resonating chamber, and very soon it will do something quite remarkable. But we still have not truly solved our mystery, so hold that thought for a moment. While the body slowly dries, attention now turns to the long, slender neck. The neck has to be dead straight, and yet it fights a constant, silent war. Those same 6 strings are always trying to bow it forward, day and night. So a thin steel rod is buried down its entire length, called the truss rod. Tighten it and it pulls the neck back, straight against all that string tension. It is a permanent tug of war, sealed quietly inside the wood forever. On top of the neck goes a smooth, hard board known as the fretboard. And set across it are thin strips of metal, the frets. Press a string down against a fret, and you shorten the length that actually vibrates. Shorter string, higher note. That part is simple enough. But the exact spacing of those frets hides some genuinely beautiful mathematics. Look closely, and the frets are not evenly spaced. They crowd tighter as you climb. Luthiers have used a simple rule of thumb for centuries, the rule of 18. Each new fret sits about 1/18 of the remaining string closer than the last one. Follow that rule all the way down the neck, and something magical happens at the 12th fret. The 12th fret lands at the exact halfway point of the open string. Halve the length of a string, and the note leaps up by precisely 1 octave. It is the very same note, exactly twice as high, written into the wood as pure geometry. The entire fretboard is really just this one ratio, repeated over and over again. Get a single fret wrong by a hair, and every chord up the neck turns sour. The back of the neck is then carved into a smooth curve that fits your hand. At the very top sits the headstock, which holds the tuning machines. Each tuner is really a tiny geared winch, quietly multiplying the strength of your fingers. Turn the key, the gears stretch the string tighter, and its pitch slowly rises. Now the finished neck is fitted onto the body, and the angle here is absolutely critical. A fraction of a single degree off, and the strings sit too high to play comfortably. The joint has to be perfectly tight, because it carries every ounce of that string tension. The bare wood is beautiful, but out in the world it is completely defenseless. Sweat, humidity, and everyday knocks would slowly but surely destroy it. So the whole guitar is sealed beneath a thin, clear, protective finish. There are 2 great rival finishes, and guitarists argue about them almost endlessly. Nitro cellulose lacquer is the old-school choice, sprayed feather-thin, and it lets the wood breathe. Modern polyurethane is much tougher and cheaper, but it sits thicker, like a hard shell. The thinner the finish, many players firmly believe, the more freely the top can move. Coat after coat is sprayed on, then patiently polished to a deep, glassy shine. Finally, the guitar is strung up and brought to life for the very first time. But a brand new guitar is not truly finished yet. It still has to be set up. A skilled tech carefully adjusts the height of the strings above the frets. Too high and it hurts to play. Too low and the strings rattle and buzz. Then comes intonation, making certain it stays in tune all the way up the neck. The exact string length is nudged at the bridge, note by note, until it rings perfectly true. Only now does the finished instrument fully agree with its own hidden mathematics. Which brings us right back to our unsolved mystery. The string is tuned, the box is sealed, the top is thin as a coin. So how on earth does one quiet little string fill an entire room with sound? Here is the real secret. The string itself is almost completely silent. On its own, a vibrating string is far too thin to push very much air. Stretch a bare string out in open space, pluck it, and you would barely hear a thing. The string is not the instrument. It never truly was. Instead, the energy of the string travels straight down into the bridge. And the bridge drives the entire soundboard, that whole broad sheet of thin spruce. That thin wooden top has a huge surface, and it shoves the air like a piston. The soundboard is the real loudspeaker. The string is only ever the trigger. A guitar is really an air pump, and the wood does almost all of the work. This is exactly why the top, the bracing, and the wood matter more than anything else. The whole craft comes down to setting one thin sheet of spruce perfectly free to move. So the next time you hear a guitar, try to listen right past the strings. You are really hearing a piece of wood, tuned by hand, breathing the air back out. A string may start the note, but the wood is the one that truly sings.